Me and Mandy, we had that chat the other day about like entrepreneurship and, you know, like how much really is enough when it comes to making it. I know that if I put my mind to it, I can build a company that makes $100 million a year. But at what cost? Everything costs, especially money. At what cost to grow to 100 million? At what cost to my personal life, my spiritual life, my professional life? At what cost? And so only you can decide that for yourself. But there's just so many lessons that I took away from living a more filled and fulfilled life, because I look at him and I'm just like, you really cracked the code, babe. You did. And sometimes I wonder, maybe that's why he's not here, because he's like, well, I aced this thing called life. I'll see y'all on the other side.
Genuinely.
Whereas I'm just like, wait, so millions are enough?
Well, it's like this notion in America that 6 billions and billions and being incredibly wealthy and founding your own company and revolutionizing some industry, that is what the ultimate success is.
Yeah.
And I think it sounds like what you're saying, and what I believe to be true too, is that is not what makes you happy.
Yeah.
And fundamentally, like when you go back to that, like, that vision of you as a preschool teacher and who you are and it being the same as today, I think that's the key. Can you put yourself in any situation with any amount of money, and still say that you're content and happy?
Yes.
That for me is that's the mountaintop,
Yes.
That's what I'm going for. And it doesn't, and for me, it's, of course, financial gain is important in building wealth, because then what can you give back and what, how can you do it? But I want to be in the right mindset so that when, I have those resources, that I'm then able to use them in a way that aligns with my values and what I feel is important, so it all feels good and not like you're being pulled in any one direction that you don't want to be.
Because it's like,
pulled
if
in.
you get this like outward success, how will it meet you? Like, I want it to meet me healthy, happy, whole. Because if not, then what is it that we're really saying? We see a lot of people with a lot of money and there's no joy there, So it's like, then they accumulate more and there's even less joy, and they accumulate more and then there's even less joy. So it's like, no, man, I want to meet a healthy, happy, whole, And so, yeah, like I said, I don't know what that looks like, but I'm trying to give myself the space and the grace to decide without the say yes because don't let this person be mad at you. Or say yes because you said yes last week. I'm the type, I would have said yes to you 10 years ago and be like, I got to say yes because 10 years ago, I said I was going to do it. It's like, yeah, no, you have, certainly, you try to keep your promises, but the biggest promise that you ought to be keeping is to yourself.
Yeah.
And I don't think I ever really believed that anymore, but I'm really leaning into that now. Like, for example, y'all know I have my online school, the Literature Academy. I stepped down as CEO. Because when I say death is so clarifying, I had like a list of things that I wanted to do that I was like, first I got to do this. And then like, I got to make sure this. And I was like, and then one day I was just like, Tiffany, I've been wanting to step down as CEO for some time, but finding a CEO and putting the company in position and no, I just was like, so I'm not doing this anymore. So Tam, you're up. She's worked with me since the beginning of the academy. And certainly she's never been a CEO before, but I had my business coach, Diane, who has been coaching me for the last 2 years. Now he coaches her and she and I speak whenever she needs to, but we have a standing call every other week. And it's my expectation that we will see a dip in revenue this year, maybe even next year, but she'll be just fine, because the truth of the matter is, and I let everyone know it's either that or we shut it down because I'm not doing it anymore. I love the mission of the Literature Academy and what it does, but I don't like being a CEO. I like being a teacher. It's not as sexy or as fancy or as I'm a CEO. I don't care about that. So it's either this or ain't no Literature Academy. They're like, we'll do this. I'm like, yes, I'm sure. And that company is very successful. As y'all know, we made 8 figures in 2020 with 10 million. We've hit our first 10 million. And I was like, okay, and I will walk away from it. And I just want to do the Budgetnista. I just want to be a teacher. I just want to, that's it. And so it was also hard too, because a Budgetnista, I'm someone where I wanted to hire as many Black women as possible. And so I did. We had a team of like 20 something women and they were getting good money. I would say, maybe 1/4, 6 figures and above. But as a result of doing that, and they were like, awesome, it forced me to work at a certain level that I didn't get as many breaks as like I needed to. Like, I took Fridays off and Wednesdays light, but I'm talking about like really not having days where, or even weeks or even months where I didn't have to work. Like I had to work to support the people that I had hired who were awesome. And it was hard, but I had to let some of them go. Not because of any fault of their own for the most part, but because it was like, who do you get to choose, Tiffany? You work yourself to the bone so everyone else can eat, or you get to decide you've done enough. That's been like the buzzword for me. It's enough, Tiffany. You don't owe someone your whole life. And the thing is so crazy. They never asked for that. My team wasn't like, girl, hit the track so we could eat. When they found out that I wasn't taking a salary from the budgetista, so everyone else could get a bigger one, they were like, why? I over-sacrifice. And I was like, enough, Tiffany. No one is asking you to continue to over-sacrifice. So we went from like 20 people down to 3, and I'm one of the 3. It's myself, my admin, Rose, and Logan, my content person. That's it. And when I tell you it's been so awesome that like, I would say of the 7 days out of the week, maybe I work 2 days. This is my only thing today. This is it. I'm taping the podcast. That's literally it. I went to the post office earlier to just mail something off to a friend of mine, but this is and tomorrow I think I have a call in the morning. And like, it's so crazy because when I finally realized I thought to myself, well, without all these people, we're going to make less money. As long as we make enough to just cover Rose's salary and Logan's salary. But that wasn't true. I came back from my hiatus to almost $1 million worth of business. I'm talking about spokesperson work, contracts, speaking engagement contracts, brand ambassador contracts, $850,000. And I was like, and I'm being candid about this because I want you to see the like what happens when you align yourself. Because I had told myself the story that if I slow down, it means business also slows down and fails. And that's not true. Life was like, yeah, actually, no, you're actually doing way less work. And surprise, here's almost $1 million for you when you come back. And I was like, wait, what? So it just is like so many times, you tell yourself a thing and you believe it's true. And then you lock yourself in the prison of that thought. And what I'm learning is that like I can step away and business continues. I have done the work necessary and required to do so. I can put someone else in place and business continues. I can take a break and business continues, so it's just like all these lessons that I'm like learning from myself. And it just, like that one in particular is like, I had told myself all that time, like, wait, I can really be gone. Remember I took those like, like that 4 weeks off or whatever, that month off,
Yeah.
And even that I had not really learned the lesson. Now I'm really like, no, you can be gone and you can never come back to that capacity and still be more than fine. And so one of my mentees, Issy, she asked me, she said, do you think you could have gotten here without the work that you did prior? And the truth is no. I'm not going to pretend as if you could start off at 2 days a week. That's just not how it looks. That there's a lot of planting and deposits you have to make. And it's only because I've reached the level of mastery in what I do that I'm able to now pick from the garden that I've grown. I'll never not pick because of so many seeds that I planted. So yes, you might be in your sowing season and it is a little hectic and crazy and a little overwhelming. But the key, and this is, Mandy and I chatted about this before, is that my garden has been overflowing for a few years now. And I was still sowing seeds as if I had just started. I had seen my goal and I ran past it and just kept running. I didn't even know how to stop. I'm like, wait, so the goal was like 2 years ago. We hit it. Okay. You want to pay off your parents' house? Done. Student loan debt? Done. Debt free? Done. No mortgage? Done. All the things done. Why are you still running so fast? And so like, I'm finally slowing down, and like, I hate that I had to take the loss of Jarrell's life to teach me how to live, but sometimes that's how it goes. But yeah, so it's just, Yeah. So.
While you were talking, I kept envisioning the peonies in my garden that the previous owners of this house planted. And I get to and I'm waiting. I see they're sprouting up right now, and it's mid-May. Around mid-May every year they bloom, and I just get to enjoy it.
Mhm.
And I hate it because it's so quick. They're there, and then they last for a couple of weeks, and then they're gone.
Mhm.
Um, but that whole analogy around sowing and planting and like looking, but actually getting to sit down and look at it and appreciate what you built. Hell no, you are not an overnight success, and you're just able to do this. I don't think anyone who's listened to the show, you know, could ever kid themselves that you haven't worked incredibly hard to get to where you are now. And I think the message there is like, if you're in your, I like to say, season of sowing, keep going, so that when something, whatever the need is, whatever the emergency is, whatever the unknown is, that you have something, that you have that foundation to lean on.